Testudos. Topic: Oriri, brackets. On this bed will be nailed, comma, the Kenyan Constitution. Wake up. Today has been a very important day. It's a day that we have been commemorating 16 years of our Constitution. To us, 16 years is teenage. To the Americans, 16 years, you are grown up. You have got your identification card. To us, 16 years is 2 years before you get the national identity card. Why am I talking about that? I'm talking about this because when we got that Constitution 16 years ago, people had many aspirations, many thoughts, and needed a lot to be achieved. We have achieved quite a lot. But I remember when people were approaching that subject 16 years ago, there was this talk. Prior to that, it was not the Constitution that was amiss. I reiterate, it was not the Constitution that was amiss. It was the implementers that were unwilling. That was the time when we were thinking now of having this kind of a political organization, having the counties and whatever goes with it, running away from the other constitution that many people had said was not good. But the question was it the constitution that was not good? People had all reasoned. They had all sat down. They had talked and reached a conclusion that it was not the constitution. It was the implementation even at that time. So what do we find in the Constitution? The key strengths of our Constitution are devolution, creates 47 counties, government that brings resources, funds and development closer to local communities. It has worked. This devolution has worked. But just like in the past, we've had that problem of unwillingness to let go, and it has created some problems. We've let go of the Constitution devolution. We've not let go of some of the things that we carry a call over. In the former Constitution, there was the Provincial Commissioner who carried the full force of controlling the province. And from there, we had all those other sections uh, up to district commissioner, come down to all those. We changed the constitution and had the senators and the governors, and we still retained the district commissioners or something like that. Up to now, some people get problems identifying who should operate within which limits. Though it says clearly that the county commissioner is the one totally in charge. So you find there are things that you have to do. Sometimes there is that letting go, and sometimes there is that holding back, which is still there. The Bill of Rights, very important. This protects fundamental freedoms, human rights, human dignity, equality, while prohibiting discrimination based on sex, race, or age. We have had this. The Bills of Rights are respected. Though still, there are times when it's very difficult to let go. There are times when there is some suppression to have an advantage, either by race, by sex, by age, or sometimes a bit of suppression of the very rights. So we have this thing that is called letting go. We want to leave the provincial system, and we still want to retain the provincial system as we get to the county system. It has brought problems. No wonder sometimes we refer, instead of talking of counties, we still remember provinces. We shall talk of Rift Valley province instead of talking of the counties within. We shall talk of Western province instead of talking of the counties within. Because we have let go and not let go. We are caught in between there. Separation of powers divides authority clearly among the executives, legislature, and judiciary to stop any single branch from holding too much power. Very important, just like it was in the past. But what happens? There are times when there is a crossover. There are times when there is confusion of boundaries between the separation of powers. You find some entities within the same power structure, forgetting that other entities are independent and trying to override other entities, trying to implement rules within other entities. At times you find maybe Parliament and the other structure are not colluding, are not working in tandem, in concert. They have clashes. You have something like the Electoral Commission and others. Instead of operating as independent bodies, you realize other entities within the separation of powers want to exert undue pressure on other independent entities. So there are times even when people are not careful, you will find players from other divisions trying to play the game within other divisions. We still have to let go. We still have to agree that these entities are independent. We have independent judiciary, ensures courts operate freely to to dispense fair justice, and the rest. We have this is a very important because that safeguards our bills of rights, with the way we conduct one another. But there are times when also there is overriding. We've experienced such a things. You know them, I know them. And there is independence. Judiciary have said that. National values. Sets core principles like transparency, accountability, patriotism, and public participation in governance under Article 10. It has been there. We talk of public participation. It was when I was looking at the roles of the county commissioners. Not county commissioners, because at the county commissioners is also, there is that structure still within, and there's the new structure within. Now, come to think of it, the MCA are supposed to organize public participation. You will always hear different entities within these separation of power structures talking of there was no public participation. Then the question that arises is, who is to call forward this public participation? I was wondering because previously when I talked of these things, I said people should learn to organize this. But I realized that MCAs are supposed to organize, gather the people on that level to be able to involve them in public participation. Do we know that? And do they do that? We have talked of Bill of Rights, separation of powers, independent judiciary, but also there have been other things that have caused us not to achieve most of what we would have achieved. Still, this is a dragging of the feet to the very things that we wanted. Like he said, Constitution is not a text of the law itself. But poor implementation and resistance from the political elite sometimes interfere. It may be people going against the highest officers, or it may be sometimes the highest officers unknowingly infringing on the other, and sometimes we don't define how far we move our feet. Sometimes some things have to be done, and sometimes there is also dragging of the feet. You find sometimes the funds are allocated, but those who are supposed to disburse the funds drag their feet. So there will be two talks. The one that has disbursed the funds saying they are there because that's what they have done. The one that are supposed to move the funds saying it is there, but when you go to the ground, the people there grumbling, and sometimes getting on the TV, grumbling again, the same funds are not there. So those who have disbursed. Those who are supposed to implement sometimes drag their feet. Then there is restricted functions. Leaders fight over who controls specific public services. We've had that. We should have a defined cut of lines of what is supposed to be there. That is what has been happening. There is political patronage, mostly when it comes to jobs, offices, and loyal supports when it comes to maybe government emoluments, advantages, because the government give this to the people. But you might find those who are to reinforce this, to implement this, sometimes put in some patronage. So as we celebrate this, different people have said different things. I liked what the president and the rest said. Beautiful, nice. I'm not saying we are behind. We are not very much behind. A lot has been achieved. But also, we need to stop dragging our feet. We need to let go. To agree that we have come from the provincial to the county. To agree that those who give the commands are able to feel their impact, percolating to where those commands have ordered whatever they have ordered. Instead of giving commands and it's like a sieve that is sealed, you pouring tea, and instead of it percolating, the tea is going over the sieve. And down there, people are saying, there is dirty tea with tea leaves, or we are not getting anything at the bottom. So these things should work in tandem so that we get the human rights. We're supposed to implement and follow the working of each system. Because sometimes people at the top, in good faith, command what they want. Things in the middle do not work. Cartels in the middle do not allow the things to work. So those at the top believe that is what is happening on the ground. And when you go on the ground, people are complaining. Why are these people up here lying to us? They said we are jumping up. See, we are lying down. Now they say we are running. See, we are crawling. We are lying on our tummies. So, what can I be able to say as a person, as a Kenyan citizen, about this constitution? We still have a bit of what people had when the constitution was being proposed. Constitution fineness. Constitution goodness. Constitution organized. A very organized constitution. Implementation shortfalls. Implementation unwillingness to some people. Implementation confusion. Confusion of the boundaries of those who are supposed to implement. Hanging to the relic appendages. This is what is happening. We have improved, but we have to do more. We have to find out how far have we deviated from the old notion of having the constitution. Do we have it and follow it? Do we have it and implement what it calls? I think we are left a bit wanting in some sections. I'm not saying it has not been done, but some sections need upholding. We need to pull up our socks. Because if we had implemented more, there will be more of all those things we have written, all those things we have said. But sometimes it's lacking because of lack of coordination. Our orchestra is being conducted, but sometimes the participants do not work in tandem. That organization is sometimes lacking. Sometimes the things the singing, the trumpets, the organ, and the other instruments are not going in tandem with the ones conducting them. Let's have an organized orchestra so that you can be able to sit back and listen to the tunes and enjoy the orchestra. That is my take for now.